And yes, it is unfortunate that we have lost our sovereignty. What is Kenya? What is Kenya when you have sold everything? What is she? When you can sell Bomas of Kenya, when you can decide you are almost taking at the airport. What is Kenya? This time you've mentioned he did it in front of the gold medalists.
True.
Sports. Basically, the message the president is sharing is last time nilitumia kanisa. Sasa hit time. Hit time. You understand what he's doing?
The president is also only human.
He's using the same scenario that right now he's using it in sports. I feel that Ruto and his team are dealing with these people like they would be dealt with in the 90s, which is completely different. These guys are not forgetful. You know, you can't just come and throw money around, throw goodies around and expect them to be on your side immediately.
I'm so delighted to have you on Richard Mwenja exclusive. Yet again, I'm here to bring home conversations that are shaping Kenya's political and governance landscape. And as usual, if not in the company of Waziri Kipchorab Kiro, I'm in the phenomenal company of the Executive Director, Siasa Place. She's back on the show, a grand return. Nerima Wako, she's been missing in action for 3 weeks now, but she's here in flesh and blood. Nerima, great to see you.
It's good.
Finally.
It's good to be back.
Prodigal daughter.
I'm sorry. It was just meetings, life. Life in a happen.
Life in a happen.
In a happen, yeah.
When
but
I
I'm
grow
around
up,
now.
I want to be like you.
You
meetings
do?
after meetings.
Hey, but when you work hard, it's different. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, I think sometimes we glorify certain positions, you know, like the way we were talking earlier, like when you're a CEO,
Yeah.
like, you know, I get why CEOs are in the office by 5 because you're just like 8 hours a day is not enough. Juu even jioni uko na watu wengine that you need to deal with. So, yeah, we need to stop glorifying certain positions. It comes with sweat and hard work, but I'm grateful.
The corner office.
Yeah. There's a reason why you get it. Yeah, you sweat for it.
All right.
Yeah.
You're finally back on the program. I'm so delighted to host you. But maybe the starting point of our conversation has to be matters to do with Mashujaa Day, which is just looming. And clearly, we've seen just a provisional list of those who've been nominated to be vetted for some of the highest national civilian honors. I was looking through the list. I see William Kamket, I see Didmas Barasa, Fred Kapondi, people like Silvanus Osoro. And something told me, just look further. Maybe Nerima Wako's name is here, or Rek Masai, or Hanifa. You're missing in action, though. I expected you to be there on the list. What is happening? First, with our national awards, and also the credibility in the vetting process. Do you have a concern with it?
I do, but I'm not gonna lie. Even when the list came out, I wasn't even interested in looking at who was on the list. I think it's lost its glorification, it's lost its gravitas, you know. Even when you put those letters behind your name because you've received it, it's lost that sense of this is rare. You know, it's supposed to be the people who you're like, man, I want to emulate and look up to. Those are not people that I want to emulate and look up to. And I think that Mashujaa Day changed last year. Me, what I remember, a massive concert at Uhuru Park where we were remembering those young people who died, who were killed during the protests. That's my Mashujaa Day. And I will always remember Mashujaa Day that way. Kenyans waving the Kenyan flag in a concert that was just us coming together and celebrating being citizens of this country. I love Kenya with all of my heart. And I think that we have ignored the true heroes.
Really?
Yeah.
So then again, if you're talking about this list, you've dismissed it, it's dead on arrival, then again, do you owe even the merit itself to be based on more of political loyalty, sycophancy, and just maybe being in the good graces of this administration?
Of course. You've only mentioned his friends. Let's look at track records. Let's look at what people have managed to do.
Sure.
Kenyans have been recognized globally before they even recognized in their home country. I'll give a classic example of Wangari Maathai. She was recognized by the Nobel Peace Prize again in the month of October. The world knew her before we as Kenyans gave her such an award. Never. Let's talk about what's happening with Karura. Let's talk about the forests. Let's talk about what she fought for. Where is Uhuru Park today? We barely see trees in CBD, and that's what gave us our beautiful name as Nairobi, the city under the sun. You used to have this picturesque view of having the only city that has a reserve. Can you imagine? But what are we discussing now? Let's move the animals. Yeah? They are sitting on prime land. I sometimes sympathize with them because we have this expressway, the Southern Bypass, hiyo kelele yote, and then in the vicinity you can see some zebras and antelopes. Can you imagine? So it's a shame. So for me, I actually wear it with such pride, not receiving such an award, because when I look at the heroes who haven't or who took a while to be recognized, sometimes a prophet or a hero is not recognized in their own home.
Thank you for bringing that up, because the president believes he's also a prophet who's not been honored in his hometown. And his allies made these remarks right after the conclusion of United Nations General Assembly, barely for 2 weeks ago, or let me say 3 weeks ago. But then again, if you look at his speech at the UNGA, it was vetted to be among one of the best speeches delivered during that particular summit. And then again, even if you look at how he's profiled himself out there, like sort of the economic messiah of Kenya, the champion of for democracy, are these tenets in the element of President Ruto that we are not appreciating enough as a country?
I think the president's speeches, so let's talk about two of them. So there's the one that he gave to the assembly, and the line that he picked, very powerful in terms of wanting to be recognized as the African voice that said we need to be on the Security Council.
True.
And this has been a fight even before Ruto. And him doing the delivery, he wants to show himself as a strong, firm believer on African unity, and he wants to present himself as a leader in the region. So not only is he trying to convince Kenyans, he's also trying to convince Africans themselves. And let's be frank, he hasn't gotten quite the best reputation in the region. We can talk about decisions with Gaza or comments in terms of support or Israel. We can even talk about the stance that Kenya has taken in the past, not just him, but we have seen even when it comes to fundraising, he has gone from China to Russia to Arab to wherever. Whoever is opening the door, he will be standing at the door.
Accredited beggar?
Yeah, so that's one. That's one impression of himself that I think he's trying to shake off and say, no. I have a stance. I have a stance in the region, and this is what it is. The other speech was now more in the smaller meeting, and I was surprised that he talked about having second-hand vehicles to fight Haiti. And you could see the bitterness in terms of, even though you gave us very little, the bare minimum, we were able to outperform. And you could almost see the anger. It was palpable, where they're like, okay, so we're not going to support only Kenya. We're going to now have a united front. Thanks for your help. Now we'll take it from here. I don't think he felt appreciated enough. And that's what that speech was about. That even with the peanuts that you gave us, we did a lot more. And you're not even recognizing that, but it's okay. Like, we were expecting a different sort of response from you in terms of even more resource. So I think that he's fighting different fronts. Not only is he trying to convince Kenyans himself, he's also trying to convince allies, NATO ally. He's also trying to convince the region, Africa, with that second speech. But I think it's tough because when you have criticism from all over the place, there are two kinds of people. There are people where they let it sink in and it bothers them and they feel like they need to fight it all the time. That's Ruto. Then there are people where they are criticized and they thrive. Who is that?
They rush from the ashes.
Oh, yeah. That's Macron. Macron is a typical example of a leader who is constantly criticized and he embraces it.
I thought the president
He
should take cue
embraces
from his friend, because Macron is known to be a close ally of him.
Yeah, he's known to be an ally of his, but they have completely different techniques of dealing with criticism. In fact, he's one person. You know, Macron is one of those people. He has been slapped in public before. He has been thrown things in public. We even saw the situation of him and his wife.
True.
And how does he deal with it? He doesn't even confront. He doesn't even, you know, he doesn't even act like it phases him. And those are the two kinds of personalities that you have in leadership. Which one looks more relaxed? Macron. Yeah.
Embraces the critics.
Yeah. That one looks more relaxed.
Talking about embracing the critics, we've seen LSK President Faith Odhiambo now finally resign from the panel on compensation of protest victims. Of course, there was a lot of legal wrangles and also revolt within the compensation panel itself. But more importantly, it was the backlash she faced from Kenyans when she was appointed to that particular panel. You've always called for her to meet the Damascus moment when it comes to resigning from that particular panel.
I have.
Where was your call premised on for Faith to resign from the panel in the first place?
Because it was unconstitutional to begin with. And I will say this to Faith. I am proud that
You
she
are?
has finally resigned. I am. It's late, but she did it. I am proud that she did. And I will stand with her on that. I think that the public is generally more unfair to women. The harassment, the bullying, the trolling, it has been intense. And I believe that I still see someone who is strong in terms of a leader. I believe that leaders make mistakes. And there's the saying that if you didn't have fruit, no one would be throwing stones at you. So, stick it through, keep your feet and your head raised, keep your head up, and we keep it moving. I think leaders make mistakes, and it takes a leader to recognize that mistake and to turn around and to say, I am facing the right direction now. And that's what she has done. I don't think we're used to seeing that. I think we are used to seeing people making mistakes and they refuse to admit it. They are stubborn about it, and they move on and they move forward. So for me, I think it's also refreshing. I didn't believe in her decision, but the fact that she has turned around, I am glad that she has turned around, rather than continuing to walk and not admitting to it and keep bulldozing her way through. Yeah.
Does President Ruto then stand a chance for redemption if indeed he is to take cue from your nuggets of wisdom, that which you've just talked about when it comes to Faith Odhiambo, in the balance of the time?
It'll be very difficult too. And I say this because we work quite a bit with, we work a lot. Most of the people I work with are Gen Zs or millennials. And I normally say that, I know the people will be mad at me for this one, but Gen Xers, they're a little bit more, they're not as sensitive, I would say this. Like millennials, they have a sense of, how does that person feel? We will talk about trauma. We will talk about, me the way I was raised. Tulikuwa tunachapwa. Lakini mtoto wangu sitamchapa hivyo. You know, we have
gentle parenting.
We have a sense of, nitakuwa mkali lakini nitakuwa na limit. You know, we have this sense of Gen Xers, they're a little bit more like boomers in terms of behavior. Not that much, a little bit of a diversion. And I'll say this about millennials, because we are a little bit more sensitive and sentimental. Even though, for instance, we had millennials on the streets, we also had a majority that didn't go on the streets.
Absolutely.
But they were praying for those on the streets. You see the difference? They were just like, I hope you guys, mkwe salama.
Boardroom warriors.
Yeah, even though they were like, not on the streets, they're like, they are praying for those on the streets. And the millennials who joined, they joined. They joined. Okay? Now, when you talk about Gen Zs, I normally say this, I feel that Ruto and his team are dealing with these people like they would be dealt with in the 90s, which is completely different. These guys are not forgetful. You know, you can't just come and throw money around, throw goodies around and expect them to be on your side immediately. This is one crew that's not loyal. Let me tell you, loyalty, hakuna.
However much millions you dish to Harambee
Not
Stars.
loyal.
Or tears for our athletes.
Not loyal. Even your story ya Harambee Stars, that is something, it's a classic political move, and that is called sports washing. Sports washing.
Sports washing?
Yes. This happened in 1936 with Germany Nazi. Do you know during that war, Hitler actually hosted the Olympics? Yeah. This happened in Qatar as well, more recently. This happens in Russia. This happens in Rwanda. All the
Sports
time.
washing?
Yeah. It's a very, very classic technique in terms of when there's a lot of pressure in your country, you use sports to distract the nation so that they calm down a bit. But Suliona ili work, you know? Kenyans were supporting Harambee Stars. That's why he was milking it. Bring the Harambee Stars to State House. Let's talk about housing. All of them will get a... You remember?
But did the tears work the other day when he was receiving gold medalists from the Tokyo Olympics? You saw the president come into a moment of emotional, breakdown, shedding tears really. And it's not the first time the president is breaking down publicly. But this time around, it was received differently. People interpret it as those are just tears of a coffin maker in a funeral. Don't take them seriously. Do you also view them as much, Nerima?
I'm glad that Kenyans picked it out because you've mentioned a very interesting context. The last time we saw tears like that with a white handkerchief, he was kneeling at a pulpit in front of a church, at a church. This time, you've mentioned he did it in front of the gold medalists.
True.
Sports. Basically, the message the president is sharing is last time nilitumia kanisa. Sasa hit time. Hit time. You understand what he's doing?
The president is also only human.
He's using the same scenario that right now he's using it in sports. Be careful. And I'm glad that Kenyans have picked it up. Like, we have seen this play before. I'm not falling for it again. Had it all before. You know that song? Had it all before. That's what Kenyans are singing.
The script is too familiar.
It's too familiar. And I'm glad they're picking it. But, unfortunately, that's the script online. Okay? Yeah. Emotions, they have a way with getting to the heartstrings of people. In rural areas, I don't know how people perceived it. They might have been like, yeah, he cares about Kenya so much. And you remember that day, what were the contexts? Women.
True.
Oh, wow, women. All of a sudden, women are important. Wow. Women can do this. He has never talked about women in such a praise. But that day, he did. He did. He praised women and how women are making him so proud and he can't believe it, how women...
Children of Mama Mboga.
Yeah, he did. Notice that script change. And me, I don't know how people in rural areas received it. They could have bought into it. I don't know. But I'll say for free, as we will be out here championing for truth and justice, and we will continue to remind people that we've seen this before and we cannot fall for it again.
You cannot fall for it again. Nerima, shifting gears a bit, we're talking about the president's style of leadership so far and his scorecard 3 years into office. But there's something that concerns me. A few days ago, the president admitted to being a micromanager, and it stems from leaders not being willing to cooperate or at least to take on their duties fully. So it forces him to step in. Is there such a huge gap, not just in the executive, but also within among our leaders, that the president has to step in and become a one-man show? Is that even tenable when it comes to sustainable leadership?
It is not. Absolutely not tenable at all. In fact, the fact that he recognized it, it's good. You've recognized it. The challenge is that you recognize the weakness and continue to feed your weakness. That's the problem. That's the problem for me. You cannot micromanage the presidency. It's an office. It's not a person. The presidency is an office. That's why they call it the office of the president. It's not a person. And so by the time you come in, the most important thing, the most important element of your job is to be able to have a team that is capable enough to carry out their positions. Because your only job when you have a very good team is to manage the team, not for you to manage their work. Those are two different things. Because now when you have a president going into every sector and making sure that things are working well, not only is it diminishing the powers of the people who lead those sectors, you're basically saying, I don't trust in your capacity. What sort of president are you when you don't trust in the people that you have hired? Number two, it means that you spend so much time looking on the ground. There's something that a former board chair of mine told me. He said, Nerima, when you become an ED, I don't want you to be on the ground like an ant. Okay? Unabeba vitu. Uko hapo na watu. Yeah?
Joseph of Arimathea, carrying each person's cross.
You can't. And he tells me, let me tell you why that is very detrimental to your position. You will be exhausted. You can't see forward because you're over there with your people. You're just seeing other ants with you. And then you can't think. So it tells me, as a CEO, you have to be a hawk. You have very sharp eyes and you're constantly flying above the land. Why? Because you're able to see danger that's coming forward and you're able to prepare and warn your team on the ground, and you have very sharp eyes because you're able to see what the team is doing, and at the same time you're preparing them for the future. You are a hawk.
Thoroughness and forethought.
That's what you are. We have a president who is an ant.
Headless chef?
Oh my goodness. Do you know, it is so exhausting even for the team because you're not sure where are we supposed to go, what are we supposed to do? Because ako tu hapo na wewe. So even when I saw this launch of Nyota, and then I said, oh my goodness, there's an actual directive for all public officials to participate and go to the ground. There's a whole ministry that's supposed to do that. That's supposed to deal with that. Then secondly, it is illegal. Public officials are not supposed to be out here campaigning. And then sometimes I wonder, when I see World Bank being quoted next to something that's illegal, I'm like, what is this? What world am I living in? Where you're talking about distributing billions and 50,000 to even the ward level. You're an ant. All of you have become ants. So who is working?
They're in empowerment tours. Gas cylinders, gods have to be dished out to residents.
Oh my goodness. Who is the hawk? Who is the hawk? Who is the hawk? Who is the eagle? Where are they? Where are we? We're not flying anywhere.
Gachagua is left to be the hawk on behalf of Kenyans. We are coming to that in a few, but talking about the absence of that hawk to give us, of course, direction to where we should be headed and what we need to fix now. The president has realized that Kenya was just, Singapore was just like Kenya 60 years ago. He talked about comparison between Kenya and South Korea and Singapore. Both were like Kenya 60 years ago, but today they are far much ahead. And he says the only difference is that the leadership. Singapore was just like Kibera 60 years ago, and that we should not embrace this DNA of under-delivering. Do you think the president in this case is just gaslighting Kenyans when he has the potential to make things work and bring that Singapore instead of making it a talk?
Complete gaslighting. And I say this because we will follow example. I think the executive, they have the authority to lead by example. If you want Kenyans to work hard, show us working hard. You show us you're working hard. You know, if you want resources to be spent the right way, you show us resources being spent the right way.
Prudent measures.
Yeah, very prudent. That's not a very difficult decision to do. That can be a simple memo. We can just reduce the amount of mandazis and tea that are being distributed in government offices. You can take very strict measures, very small steps, and we will be able to see a ripple effect.
You don't want examples, Nerima? You are tired of Singapore being your benchmark?
We are tired. Let's walk, you know? Let's walk the talk. We've been seeing a lot of talk. Let's walk it. So that's not something that's difficult to do. I think that, by the way, even on Bagathi Way, that's one of the most, Raila Odinga Way, that's one of the most inspirational roads for me.
Why do you say so?
The amount of people who walk to work. Just one morning, 7 a.m. From 7 a.m. there, just stand up tu chini ya Mbagathi Way. Just watch the number of people streaming out of Kibra, walking into town. It is. In fact, we don't even need to expand the road there. We need to expand the sidewalk.
Pedestrian walk.
So many people. It is so inspiring to me to just see Kenyans walking on a mission. And I'm like, these Kenyans are walking on a mission every morning with such ambition. From 7 a.m. Even the traffic for cars is not that much. And by the way, people who own cars in our country, it's like less than 20%. The people who own cars, less than 20%.
Let alone those who own homes.
Yeah, even less. Hata mimi sina. So if those people who walk are the majority Kenyans, you can see the passion and the zeal that they have. We are just not tapping into it or giving the environment for them to prosper in it. That for me, those people inspire me daily. And it's unfortunate, I've talked about the sidewalk. That's how Kenya is built. Kenya is not built for the majority hardworking citizen. Kenya is being built for the minority. The minority. And unfortunately, even when you talk about Singapore, all these countries were built for the majority. They looked at the average citizen. What can you do as a citizen? There are countries who took it overboard, like Japan. They are now developed, but they had periods where people even struggle with relax and sleep. People die from overworking because burnout. They ingrained it so much in their populations that we must build this nation together. And they focused on the average citizen, and they made the environment conducive for them to build. We don't. We choke those people. We make it so hard for you. After by the time unafika tao, you're already being fleeced by police officers. Yeah? You're already being harassed. It's stressful to get to work. Kuna mali zingine, hata hakuna barabara. People are jumping over mtaros.
Nairobi Lake.
Yeah.
Upon a slight downpour.
We make it very hard for them just to work hard. So for me, I think it's just a lot of talk and no action.
Nerima, I mean, honestly speaking, you're a proud, rather, let me talk, a rich walking repository of history. And you've talked about Kenya being built for the minority, not for the majority. If we go back in time, we heard of JM Kariuki talk about this need for Kenya to be a country not of 10 millionaires and a million beggars. So are we living JM's worst nightmare?
Yeah, we are. We are living, breathing it. And it's one of those things where, I'm not going to say if we're not careful, we're already in the danger zone. When unemployment is such a huge issue, not just in Kenya, when we're seeing the protests, there was even a documentary where they were comparing the protests that have happened now globally and how a lot of even Gen Zs have learned from what happened in Kenya. This is a clear indicator that what's going on in our country is happening around the globe. Leaders need to be prepared, if they are not already, for a generation that is not going to accept the bare minimum. They're like, I'm educated enough. You tell me to go to school. You tell me to work hard. I'm doing all these things. But why can't I put food on my table? Why? You have told me this promise, and I still can't put food on my table. Why? So even when you hear people questioning, you're forcing us to pay SHA.
Yeah.
You're extracting resources from us from SHA. But you're not even using SHA.
SHA is a game changer.
Yeah.
It's been touted as such.
Yeah. And you're not using it? Hey, people are going to flip on you. And so that's what we are actually witnessing. And JM Kariuki was right. And so when you have 75% of our population being young, the majority, and then they're living in poverty, and you expect a country to function? Why?
So we haven't seen the last with Nepal. It
No.
could circle back to Africa, and more precisely even to Kenya.
I won't say could, it will.
It will?
Yes.
At a time when Mudavadi says we do not have a precedence of many one-term presidents in Africa, but the other day Lazarus Chakwera proved him wrong. So this again, has it left us an egg on the face of these leaders who believe it's going to be their show to the end of time?
A very good indicator, which will be very soon, is watching Tanzania and watching the elections in Uganda. let's bring it home. Let's bring it home. When you see the way Suluhu is campaigning, when you see the abductions that are happening now more frequently, when you see how the control of social media, where they've even shut down certain social media sites, you only do this when you're trying to react in fear. A classic example of what happened in Nepal, see, they shut down social media.
True.
Yeah. So they are continuing with the same mistakes. They are seeing the script, and then the governments are reacting the same way these other governments made mistakes. And you're going to expect what kind of result? So we don't even have to wait long. Let's just see how Tanzania runs their elections. It will be a clear indicator that there's a certain wave, especially amongst young people. And let's watch how Uganda is going to run the election. We don't even have to wait for 2027. We don't. It will show us in the regions that are normally well controlled and behaved. If they go left, what is Kenya? What is Kenya?
No one can save him.
No.
So then again, Nerima, you've talked about there's need for even the administration of today to give reprieve to these Kenyans who are saying times are hard. But probably one vehicle they have decided to use to at least address that is now waiving the ID fees, well, at least until 2027. But my concern is, are we witnessing a president who manufactures a crisis, then later on comes back as the savior? Because if you look at even the fees for IDs in Kenya, they were raised by this administration to 1,000 bob. Now they've been reduced so that they have been actually scrapped off so that Kenyans can access these IDs so that they can vote for the change they want. Are we looking at a case of just playing mind games and just mind games with Kenyans in the first place?
I'm glad you brought that up because yesterday I was reading news reports, like let's start with IDs, then go into voter registration.
True.
The media is framing it as, Gen Zs, where are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
You're being given the opportunity to register. You're not. Okay. We've been doing ID campaign for the last 6 months.
As Siasa Place?
As Siasa Place,
Okay.
yeah. In 17 counties. We have a campaign called Siasaya ID. Very interesting videos on our platforms. Some of them trended in vernacular languages from
I've seen them.
Kitui, to Kericho. People are not accessing their IDs as easily as government is trying to make us believe.
Come on, Nerima.
They are not. People are still struggling to access them. You're being told for crazy things, from titles, land titles. Some of them, Kajiado, you have to go with a male figure to access an ID. So it can be a father, a father, a brother, an uncle, a husband. You as a woman, above 18, you cannot go alone in some places in Kajiado. And that's on our website. And then there are also cases of, there's a lady, religious regions, alikuwa amevaa turban. You know this is Western.
True.
Ameambiwa, lazima utoe, tuchukue picha.
What?
Si alikata. She said, kaa na hiyo ID. Kaa na hiyo.
My faith comes first.
My faith comes first. We have people roaming around our streets without IDs because of their religion. And you, first of all, who are you to tell them to remove their turban? Huh?
Or open their eyes wide for the iris biometrics.
We even have a case of a young man, alikuwa na dreadi, and he was told, you have to cut your dreadlocks. Alizikata, by the way.
Otherwise he looks like a terrorist.
Yeah, atuchukui picha na madredi hapa. Yeah, he cut his dreadlocks and finally got his ID. So these are just some nuances. I've not even shared with you how there was something that Murkomen said where he said, now IDs are going to the chiefs. My friend, chiefs are bribing you to get your ID. You're paying the chief. We even have cases of which ward and where.
Institutionalized corruption?
Yes. This. Then number 2, there are people who have even 2 waiting cards. You are told to pick it from here, unaenda hapo, imepelekwa sijui wapi. It is a nightmare for people in Lamu.
Why they holding?
It is a nightmare. So, IDs, first of all, we still have problems there. They are not that easy to get. Even though you see the president announcing, oh, we reduced the amount, oh, we've removed this. Okay. But we still have people who have IDs that are expired. or expiring. May I have someone who came and asked me, Sasa Mimi, my ID is expiring next year, 2026. So now, what happens to that? Why do we still have expiring IDs? Why do we? So we still have challenges within the IDs, which we are highlighting, because we have a number of young people, even over 200 that we know of, and we have not covered the country, just small wards, still with waiting cards for more than 6 months that we know of. We know that there are areas where vetting has been removed. People are getting their IDs in 1 week, we know. We know of areas where vetting has come worse. Like now my county, Busia, vetting is even worse. Yeah, vetting has intensified. Since wametoa hapa, wameileta hapa. So it's unfortunate that even talking to some people in the offices, they're like, Ugandans wanazipata haraka, Burundians wanazipata haraka, Somalia wanazipata haraka. Ninyi kama wa Kenya, mtangoja hii kitu.
Wewe kama Msamia.
Yeah. So that is the challenge. So that's IDs, okay? Now let's bring it to the voters.
True.
So we've had people are saying it's a drive, now it's open. There's influencer, Wambosha, Maxine. She did her, I said, this girl, by the time she got her voters card,
idea.
Do you know, I said, this girl has time. Me by the first office. Remember, she went to how many offices? Like 3. By the time you go, first of all, she thought it would be at her school. No. Haya. Enda Huduma Center, hapana. Hakuna mtu hapa na hizo kufanya fingerprints. Yani paka she went to Anniversary Towers. Me of all places, I thought, Anniversary Towers, IBC headquarters, of course. There must be someone.
A click away.
Someone. No. So she had to go to it was a DO's office.
And that's a top influencer.
Top influencer.
Educated
Yani
Kenyan
if you
child.
want the Gen Z that walikuwa wanachekelea wanaendanga kwa protest na iPhone, na Uber.
Classic
She's
example.
the classic example. So by the time she gets hers, see hiyo siku yote imeisha. In fact, I was even looking at her like, I'm glad she ended the day on a positive note. Because imagine, this is someone you have told yourself from saa 2 za asubuhi, I am not ending this day without me registering.
Siingi mjengo.
Siingi. So now imagine people who have to hustle every day. You by the first office, me, I'm not going to lie. Me, I'd have been like, I tried. I'm not going to lie. You want me to go to... come on.
I have embraced 2-term.
Kwani hii ni treasure hunt? I mean, why are you taking me on a chase? Mimi nataka hii voters card, nipatie tu ofisi moja, nikuje, nipange laini, unipatie. Why are you making me go to office 2, office 3, office 4? Yani, it's like Kenya is telling me, how bad do you want to vote?
Safari ya wana wa Israeli.
Show me your strength. Taking me 40 years to go somewhere. Ilikuwa tu hapa karibu, unanipeleka around. Why are you testing my patience and my ambition? This is what this government is doing. So media needs to stop framing it. Young people, you don't come out, you don't come. My goodness, do you know how hard it is to just go and register? They're making it hard.
This early, it's already that hard.
They are gaslighting. Yes. So what we are going to do going forward, because this is continuous, we have to highlight where people can register. IBC, please do a better job at it. I mean, you don't even have to use radio. Even influencers will be happy to help you with that information.
True.
We will come. Even there's someone who was telling me they were talking to their driver, taxi driver, alimuuliza, uko na voters card? Sina. Hata hiyo kitu nafaa kuenda wapi? Unaenda wapi by the way? Naweza ipata aje? I mean, if people are asking this here kwa CPD, there's a lot more work to be done. I'm not giving up on young people. They are going to register in numbers.
And they are going to be the kingmakers. That's still your stand.
No matter how hard you make it for us, we will come and we will show the public transparently, you're making this too hard. You need to make it easier. And we will register. We will have them registered.
Nerima, before we go full throttle on the politics of the day, let's have some economic sense for just a minute. And oftentimes we are coming from a past whereby this administration has cried of, we are operating under a constrained fiscal space. And one of the ways they are trying to resolve this is by privatizing some of our strategic assets as a country. The most recent being the advocacy for the privatization of Kenya Pipeline Company. And the president has been one of the biggest cheerleaders for closure on this privatization process. We are giving up 65% stake of KPC. And they are citing need for us to look into efficiency, innovation, and growth of some of our strategic assets. But from where you sit as your footnote, do you take concern when we privatize some of these strategic assets as a country? And do they also have a correlation with our national security in the first place?
I do have concern because there are some elements of institutions that they carry a historical aspect and heritage of our country. I feel that there are some elements and institutions that should remain public. But now what we are talking about is private-public partnerships.
True.
There are some industries that can benefit from PPPs, work more efficiently, and even in terms of even looking at growth, they could work.
Innovation.
Yeah, and innovation. PPPs can work. But now it would be differentiating what is heritage that should remain public and what can be transitioned into a PPP. And this is mainly sectors like maybe transport can be PPP and do better PPP. But my worry is, because countries have done this and they've succeeded, and I think that we can, my worries is now the selections of the private industries and companies that end up doing these businesses. It hasn't been always people who have the capacity. It has been people who know people in power, who receive it, or proxy companies, which is a concern for me, which ends up being particular families that are politically aligned that get these tenders to do this work. That's the worry for me. I think that there's a very thin line, almost non-existent, between politics and business in our country. I think that it's diminishing greatly, and it's unfortunate because once that happens, it becomes extremely difficult to hold government accountable. And I say this because we're even witnessing it not just in Kenya but globally. When you see Trump having dinner with tech giants, that is such a thin line that it's concerning, because you'll find that now these tech giants are able to do whatever they want because they have government in their pocket. And when we talk about future, we talk about gig economy, we talk about work. These are now industries that are more richer than continents. So they can run budgets that run continents. And so power is shifting. Power is shifting into business, and we're actually watching the true definition of capitalism. And with capitalism, there's not a lot of social welfare. And so for me, it would be the welfare of the public that will be at risk, especially when we have it, where we have an administration that only has their friends receive the tenders.
Thank you for bringing that up, because, I mean, just some background. You are in the NGO space, in the civil society. You run your own NGO, Siasa Place. And we are having questions as Kenyans regarding on what grounds should immunity be offered to some of the NGOs. We are talking about the Global Center for Adaptation. Why is it receiving this kind of state privileges? And some are even questioning the motive behind such immunity being grounded to this or that particular firm or individuals. Nerima Wako, have we got to a point whereby we could be compromising on the privileges that president holds when it comes to giving it to foreign powers?
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that example, and I'm glad that Lynn Ngugi brought out that story. What you're mentioning is a classic example of what happens. In fact, immediately I saw that man become the vice chancellor
Of UON.
of UON.
My alma mater.
I felt bitterness. I was even like, am I racist? I'm like, what is this? Why am I feeling
Can
so
we find a black person to head this university?
He was just like, no, for what the university stands for what it was built upon. I wouldn't say it is what it used to be, but I believe it can go back to what it used to be. I knew something was up. I didn't know what it was, But I'm glad that it has finally come to light. Because as soon as I saw that announcement, I said, something is up. There was an agreement that was made. There's a deal that was made. I don't know what it is, but I'm glad that we finally know. And I'm glad that things are now coming to light. And yes, it is unfortunate that we have lost our sovereignty. What is Kenya? What is Kenya when you have sold everything? What is she? When you can sell Bomas of Kenya, when you can decide you are almost taking at the airport, what is Kenya? And so for me, I feel that, you know, from 2024 last year, Kenya built such an important identity through its young people. It's a shame that it's the young people that are teaching older generations what it means to stand by the flag. You know, our national anthem is so powerful. So powerful. It's almost as though our ancestors predicted that a moment like this would come. Where, as citizens, there's a line that says that we must stand and defend our country.
True.
We must guard it. There becomes a moment where we as citizens must guard it. And
We
that's
stick
what
to
we're
our
doing.
guns.
Yes. And that's what we're doing. And I remember when I went to school, when I was studying in the US, and someone asked me, Aki, you guys, your flag, Aki ikona shields.
Shields.
So, I know, it's like, what is that? Like,
Why are you at war?
I know. And I had never thought about it. I was like, by the way, it has spears and a shield. It is to defend. We must defend. And what we are witnessing, this is a violation of country, a violation of state. And we've not even talked about people using our land to be able to train military. And it took a whole senator to come out and say this is actually happening. We have lost it.
Or maybe using our airport as the cocaine highway.
Can you imagine? We have lost it. So I would say, and that's why I mentioned, I'm so glad that we're having young men and women being whistleblowers.
True.
Standing guard and saying this can't happen in our country. And I'm so proud when I see our flag and other people wearing our bracelet. I believe it has created an identity of Kenyans who don't want to see Kenya being sold this way. And it will stop.
Unfortunately, today you've not worn yours.
Oh, I never remove it.
Oh, it is there?
It's here.
Thank you so much.
Never.
Let's cross over now, go full throttle on the politics of the day in Erima. And how about we begin from the political sort of union, that which consists of parties like under the United Opposition umbrella, DCP party, we're talking about Wiper party, Jubilee party. But then again, seemingly, do you see that there could be grounds for divorce being backed, in the sense that we've seen DCP feel like they're unwilling partners in this cooperation, and they're putting their eyes on Jubilee party, questioning the candidature of Matiang'i, or maybe he could be a state project. Some are even questioning people like George Natembeya. When you're coming into a coalition, but you already have trust issues, that this actually rubber stamp that indeed in the fullness of time, this is just a marriage that won't work.
So, first of all, that generation of politicians, they're used to forming coalitions 6 months to an election.
True.
It is already too early for their marriage. It's like taking teenagers to get married. They will fight. They will fight. It's too early for their marriage. They will fight. So me, I'm not even concerned with this noise. It is expected as they grow and figure each other out. What they do know, what we all know, what we should know, is that they cannot go into this election separated. That we cannot split. So I don't care how much they don't like each other, but they just need to know that they need to be on one side. We don't care how you sort your issues out. You need to sort your issues out. And that's one thing across the board we must agree on, because we cannot split it. Them individually, there's no way they can get the 50+1. There's no way. We know this. The other element is we're dealing with a generation that, you know, they also are doing ID drives in high schools. And so the 17-year-old today is going to be voting for the first time in
Yeah.
2027. Okay. So we also have this generation that is a wild card.
True.
Okay? They don't really follow Raila. They are not really that influenced. They don't really follow these kingpins that we are glorifying. They will probably listen to their peers or whoever influences them the most.
Sorry for cutting you short, but
Yeah.
are you sure that their vote is not part of the 7 million strong votes that Gachagua says he has in his pockets?
Nah. Let me tell you, I'm telling you, this generation is different. I mean, by the time they can mobilize on TikTok for Kaluma Boy,
Yeah, true.
they didn't even need a politician to bring them together. Do you know we've never witnessed this in Kenya before?
Yeah.
Where crowds of people congregate and there's no politician there. Do you know that's a shift in power?
And they're about to congregate for Vera Mora. You know the
Unaona?
story?
Yeah. And that's people power. So for me, I'm witnessing a shift. And they have not yet figured it out. And that shift, this congregation of people, these young people mainly, they are going to have their own set of leadership. They will. Who will enter the game? Probably later.
So we are insulting the intelligence by saying, because you are Gen Z from Mount Kenya, your vote is part of my 7 million
Yes.
that I claim I carry.
Yeah, because if he really truly controlled everyone from Mount Kenya, Kaluma Boy would have not happened without them. But it did.
True.
Anything or any decisions that involves a large group of people, if you're really saying you are their leader, they would have contacted you to attend. They didn't.
I am the way, the life in Mount Kenya politics.
They didn't. I wouldn't play it down. But I have seen that they have brought together their youth leagues. I don't know if you saw that.
I've seen it.
The different parties from PLP, DCP, all of them, they brought the youth leagues together. And the youth leagues have signed an MOU. This is unique. This has
charter.
never, a charter. This has never happened before. So they're also recognizing that there are dynamics in this politics today where young people have to be involved and they have to be as passionate to be able to co-create and to build a wave and momentum. They are recognizing that. They are used to making decisions here and then the rest will follow. But now they are seeing we have to make decisions here and involve people here for the rest to follow. And that's the shift for me.
Each voice must count.
Yeah.
Nerima, oftentimes you've argued that for us to get the change we want as a country, we must go back and have a kind of wave, that akin to the 202 wave of change. And you've signaled that outside a wave, it would be very hard for anyone to beat President William Ruto. So then again, there are two presidential candidatures that many have resonated with, at least the Gen Z constituency. That is that of David Maraga and that one of Boniface Mwangi. But then again, if you're talking about creating this wave to take him out on the ballot in 2027, why are these two individuals then not arriving at a point of consensus and unifying that Gen Z vote?
There was a picture of Boniface Mwangi, actually William Tunga, Neto Agostino, someone represented Okia's team, Kigame. So they have met, and I believe that they will continue to meet. So it's not that they are not going to come together. They will. We've already seen their point people sitting together and having these discussions, and everyone knows that it has to be a unified front. This next election, it has to be a unified front. And I believe that all forces will end up being on the same side. And it will be a wave.
It will be a wave.
Yeah.
Moving on swiftly, Nerima, the other day during the Jubilee Special NDC, the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, of course, hitted back at President Ruto's administration. He cited them using untested and untried policies that are just plain abracadabra with the lives and livelihoods of Kenyans. It is an opinion you've held before on this particular program. But let's look at it from two perspectives. One, was President Uhuru Kenyatta justified to hit back at the government? And is he doing Kenya a disservice by coming back to politics of the day when he should give people free hand to apply themselves to the future?
I think that him as a citizen does have the right to engage in politics. Being a former president, he's one of the presidents that we have that didn't just go off into darkness, because also he's not of that age. He still has energy. Like when Moi was too old, he went and disappeared. Moi Kibaki, the same. And so now we're dealing with a president who has youth. And so now he's going to be engaging. He's going to be engaging the politics of the day. And there are still people who follow him, who listen to him, who want to know his opinion on things. I'm a huge believer in criticism, especially if you have fact to back your criticism, not just in making noise because you want to be relevant and to trend that day for the news. That's different. And so for me, I see no problem with it. And I think it's healthy for our democracy to do so. There are countries where such criticism can end you up in jail. And thank God we're in Kenya where it doesn't. And we need to continue to leave those platforms open. But I would say that what's important is this dissent. It's important to have dissent in our democracy. We can't have everyone agreeing with everything you're doing. If we do, then we're living in an autocratic nation, which as a republic, I would be proud for us to be able to have people who do not agree, even former presidents. Yeah.
Do you think that's what informed President Ruto's response to CNN journalist Richard Kest on the sidelines of Unga, where he was told, I mean, Kenyans say you are the worst president in their history, but the president responded and said Kenya is a robustly democratic country, and they have a right to that opinion. Do you think this is the embracing part of criticism that you were talking about earlier?
No, it's not, because in the same breath, we saw members of parliament passing a bill which could have you in trouble because of things that you've said on your social media or even your accounts shut down. So we are seeing double speak with him. When it comes to a person who's in authority saying it, that's different, because we're seeing acts of intimidation. We've had people abducted because of posts. We've had the likes of Albert Ojwang killed in a police cell because of a post. And Lagat still seems to be in office. So we do see that double speak. So when he says it, he's just saying it because he's in New York being interviewed by one of the most famous journalists on CNN. He will say what he needs to say to look good. But when we look at what happens in the country, it's not safe for people to speak dissent. It's only safe for certain levels of people. What I'm pushing for, what I encourage, is everyone has the freedom of expression, which is in our constitution, and that's important.
It makes sense. Second, finally, Nerima, before I give you a chance to make your parting shot in the interest of time, a few days ago, during one of his media engagements with KTN, that is former DP Rigathi Gachagua, he has proposed the devolution of presidential tallying, and he argues that maybe we bring the presidential tallying to the constituency level just so to safeguard the presidential vote. He argues what happens at the Bomas of Kenya is monkey business. But look at it, Nerima, from this angle. It is at that polling station in Mazeras where the voters' will crystallizes and becomes an agent of change. So then again, was Rigathi just trying to sound reformist when in actual sense, that is something that already the constitution has safeguarded? All we need is integrity in the transmission.
Yeah, I think so, because this is the minor Kiai case. I do believe that it's an issue of safeguarding. And what I'm hopeful about is that this tech-savvy generation, the amount of parallel tallying that will occur, these guys are not prepared. You know, you can think that you're going to manipulate votes, but let me tell you, there are people who are awake 24/7. This is a generation, remember, that at 2, 3 a.m. has the largest engagement on social media. In fact, globally, I think we come at number 2. This is a generation that does not sleep. And they will watch this vote. And they will use their cell phones to do so. And they will transmit this information. So you can try as much as possible to try and sway numbers and change numbers. But because you've already told us that you're going to do it, we are going to tell you that we are going to watch it. We have already told you.
Shutting down social media platforms won't work? CAK?
No. Did we watch them shut down social media platforms on Nepal? Did they still not mobilize and kick out an entire government? And Nepal was using a playbook that came from us. So it is going to be easy for us to create another playbook on how to watch an election. And we will be ready to teach the world on how to do that.
All right, Nerima, finally, it's time that I get your parting shot for this week. And of interest are your concerns that maybe we've left out on this particular program, and maybe that just message of hope and encouragement to that now person watching the show. They are growing fearful by the day. If your concerns are anything to go by, maybe they're staring at darker days ahead, going by your revelations. What's your word for them today?
Do not believe that people are not registering to vote. We probably will do it last minute, but we will do it. And there is definitely going to be a change. People are prepared for that change, and I'm very encouraged by it. People are going to come out and vote, and we're going to watch that vote.
Well, there you have it. That is the closing remark from the Executive Director, Siasa Place. Go check it out. Of course, an organization out here doing amazing work in the world of civic education, youth empowerment, you name it. Nerima will tell us better about the organization. I now sit ground to her, sorry.
No, it's okay. No, we educate young people on the constitution, electoral process, participation, and of course we want young people to engage in governance. Yeah.
All right, there you have it. Until you get to do this again next week with Nerima Wako. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Nerima Wako, glad to have you back. We hope you'll be here for quite a longer holiday this time round.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
3. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing.